you won't believe the surprising average income of retirees in Canada. And you definitely will never guess how much money retirees really spend. Let's jump in. The top questions I consistently receive from my practice revolve around retirement income needs. Every year, countless individuals reach out to me seeking advice on their retirement plans. They are eager to understand how much income they're really going to need once they retire. Now, the short answer is it depends on lifestyle. And while many have a rough estimate of their current expenses, they're curious about the average expenditure of retirees. In this video, I'm going to dive deep into the data and shed some light on this very popular topic. Additionally, I'll draw from my own experiences with my clients in my practice to try to give you some insights into the typical retirement spending patterns that we see. I will also walk through some very valuable tips on managing your retirement income and preparing effectively for your retirement years. In the last few years, inflation has surged and it's prompted a greater need for money. As a result, some individuals planning to retire have opted to actually work part-time to earn extra income rather than immediately revising their financial plans. They have chosen to extend their working years. So if you're one of those individuals that are approaching retirement, it's a pretty good idea to have a good sense of your current spending habits. Now, I understand that budgeting might not be your favorite thing to do. It's actually quite common for people not to have a budget. But even if you're not into budgeting, it's still really important to have a general idea of your monthly expenditures, even if it's just a rough estimate within $500 to $1,000. Many experts suggest that during retirement, you're going to likely spend around 70 to 80% of what you were spending before. So if you don't have a budget, you can use that range to get you started, and it's a great guideline to follow. Now, getting close to maintaining 100% of your pre-retirement income is the ideal scenario, especially during the active phase of your retirement when you're enjoying life to the fullest. By sticking to a plan, starting with a solid foundation, and then gradually increasing it, you can sustain your lifestyle without the extra expenses associated with working, like commuting costs. So what is the average? Well, a 2021 Canadian income study found that the average after-tax income for retired families in Canada was $69,900, while for individuals, it was around $31,400. Now, I found these numbers, especially for the lower one, a bit too low. Looking at the data, I noticed a significant gap between the average income for individuals and households, with $69,900 for families and $31,400 for individuals. This raised some questions for me, as it seemed quite disproportionate, and I couldn't pinpoint the exact reason for this discrepancy when I really looked at the data. But based on our experience in working with clients, we typically don't see that wide a gap. In reality, if a couple needs around $60,000, an individual would likely require around 75% of that amount, approximately $45,000 to $50,000. So seeing a spread that wide, from $31,400 to $69,900, is somewhat concerning. Now, the question arises, do you really need that much money in retirement? Data from Canada suggests that the typical household spends about $60,000 annually, even in retirement. Now, you might be thinking, I don't spend anywhere near that, or perhaps I spend much, much more. This is where my experience in working with clients comes into play. So here is what I found. In my line of work, where I've completed hundreds, if not thousands, of financial projections for many different clients in many different provinces, I have seen that our average household, whether it's an individual or a couple, typically spend around $7,000 to $10,000 in after-tax expenditures each month. This is a very common figure that we encounter, but most of my clients tend to fall within the high income, high net worth brackets, which may skew our average higher than when compared to the national average in Canada. Now, it's important to note that we do encounter a range of client needs, from those requiring only $3,000 to $4,000 a month to others requesting higher amounts like $15,000 to $20,000 per month after tax. However, focusing on that average, our clients generally fall within that $7,000 to $10,000 range per month during the active phase of their retirement. So let's see what they spend it on. Let's take, for example, someone needing $6,000 per month, totaling $72,000 annually during the active phase of their retirement. This amount might decrease to around $5,000 per month or $60,000 annually, and then further down to approximately $4,500 per month as they transition into the different phases of retirement. Now, let's dive into where these expenses are allocated. Housing costs. Housing costs generally comprise around 35 to 40% of total spending in retirement. Typically, this retiree will allocate about $15,000 to $20,000 annually, if not more, towards housing expenses. However, this amount can vary a lot based on factors such as mortgage payments versus owning a house or living in a condo with associated strata fees or HOA fees. Transportation. Transportation accounts for approximately 15% of the budget, ranging from $7,000 to $10,000 annually. This includes vehicle ownership expenses such as insurance, gas, and maintenance, as well as travel-related transportation costs. Transportation expenses can add up significantly, as evidenced by the costs associated with vehicle ownership. So if you find yourself entering retirement with multiple vehicles, it could be worth considering downsizing to minimize unnecessary expenses. Healthcare. Healthcare gets pricier as you age. Another significant expense in retirement is healthcare, typically amounting to 10 to 15% of your retirement income. Allocating approximately $3,000 to $5,000 extra annually for healthcare expenses in Canada is advisable. Keep in mind that healthcare needs can vary from year to year, with some years requiring minimal expenses and others needing additional costs for issues like dental care. Although, it is important to note that we do have a brand new national dental plan. More on that in future videos. Food and utilities. Food and utilities are also significant expenses in retirement. Food will typically account for 10 to 15% of your bill, and 5 to 10% of your retirement income will probably be allocated to utilities. With these expenses factored in, you can expect to allocate a substantial portion of your budget just to your basic necessities. Travel and entertainment. Let's not forget about travel. This is a notable expense that adds a lot of enjoyment to retirement, but it also requires careful budgeting. However, travel on the long list of potential costs can be significantly reduced if you had to. It's important to establish a baseline for your retirement income needs and start by calculating everything that you require and then build upon that foundation. When you hit retirement, it's important to establish a baseline for your retirement income needs. Start by calculating everything that you need and then build upon that foundation. If you have a surplus of money beyond your needs, including travel and entertainment, consider building up cash reserves for other things. This approach allows for more leisure activities like additional travel while you're still able to enjoy it. Keep in mind that as you age, health concerns will creep in, and these health concerns typically start around your early 70s. So it's a really good idea to plan to front load your retirement savings to make sure that you make the most of your active years while ensuring you have sufficient resources for later stages of retirement. Another thing that happens as you age is that travel insurance becomes more and more expensive. This makes sense as the likelihood of something happening to you while abroad increases as you age. You may not have the appetite for high travel insurance premiums later. So that's why it can be a really good idea to get your travel in while relatively young and healthy in your earlier years. As you move further into retirement, your expenses typically decrease. While there might be some occasional health-related costs that require a little bit more funding, having a home can serve as a financial backup. It is critical to discuss these types of scenarios with an investment advisor or portfolio manager to fully understand how to navigate potential large expenses down the road. Tax planning is also a critical aspect that many overlook. During your working years, taxes were probably deducted from your paycheck with limited opportunities for additional planning. In retirement, tax planning becomes a critical aspect that many people overlook, yet it offers significant opportunities for tax deferral and optimization. While you were working, your income typically came from one source, and the taxes that were deducted were pretty straightforward. However, in retirement, you're probably going to have quite a few income streams. Examples of these include CPP, OAS, investment accounts, and pensions, and this can total as much as 15 different sources for the typical household. How you withdraw from these sources and manage your withholding tax can significantly impact the amount of after-tax income you receive and the taxes you owe to the CRA. Unfortunately, many retirees completely overlook this complexity and end up paying unnecessary amounts in taxes, sometimes totaling thousands to tens of thousands of dollars each year. Most people would think it would be better to pay less tax and keep more money in your pocket. That's where strategic tax planning can make a significant difference. As we've just mentioned, in retirement, income can come from various sources, including government benefits like CPP and OAS. The flexibility to adjust these benefits based on your needs is critical. Deciding when to start taking CPP or OAS and how they fit into your overall income strategy requires careful consideration. Additionally, many retirees have accumulated RSPs over time, providing another income stream that you can control in terms of timing and the amount of withdrawals. However, the choices you make here also affect your tax liability and the amount of money you will have available for spending after taxes. Now, if you happen to be a person in a lower income bracket, there might be some opportunities to qualify for additional benefits like the GIS or Guaranteed Income Supplement. We often help clients optimize their income strategies and maximize their benefits. While GIS can provide additional income for those with lower incomes, it's essential to understand the long-term implications. Attempting to qualify for GIS through strategic income manipulation often results in higher taxes down the road. In many cases, when people try to do this, they end up worse off financially in the long run. It's critical to discuss your options with an investment advisor or portfolio manager to determine the most suitable strategy for your situation. Additionally, retirement income may include pensions from employer-sponsored plans such as defined benefit or defined contribution plans. These plans can significantly impact your overall retirement income and tax situation, making it essential to consider them in your retirement planning. So what kind of plan do you have? Understanding the difference between a defined benefit and a defined contribution plan is very important in retirement planning. I actually have just released a full video on how you can identify the type of plan that you have in Canada. But here's a very quick way of finding out. With a defined benefit plan, the benefit you receive is predetermined, typically based on factors like years of service and salary. On the other hand, a defined contribution plan allows you to control how much you contribute, with your eventual payout dependent on factors like investment performance. Now, in addition to all this, personal savings and accounts like tax-free savings accounts and other investment accounts can also provide additional sources of retirement income, sometimes tax-free income. These accounts offer flexibility in terms of when and how much you withdraw, allowing you to optimize your tax situation and your overall financial strategy throughout retirement. Here's the bottom line. As retirement approaches, it's very common for households in Canada to hover around the $60,000 to $70,000 income range. While this amount is going to vary for individuals, it's a ballpark figure for many. However, merely aiming for the average isn't enough. As you approach retirement, it's essential to develop a strategic plan rather than just blindly withdrawing funds. By strategically timing and selecting income sources, you can optimize your tax situation and maximize your retirement income. Take a deeper dive into your spending habits and income sources. Consider how you can optimize your finances to make the most of your money and put more money back into your pocket after taxes. After all, you've worked really hard to build up your nest egg. Now it's time to make the most of it in retirement. Did you know that navigating the uncertainties of the markets and your finances is generally smoother and a lot easier with the support of an investment advisor or a portfolio manager? Studies have consistently shown that individuals who work with an investment advisor or a portfolio manager tend to accumulate up to 3 times the net worth on average compared to going it alone. Do you want to know how to hire a good financial advisor? Well, click here to learn more. We'll see you soon.